Only hours away from returning to Canada to rejoining the Canada roster for the first time since March 23rd, Moïse Bombito will no longer. After a horrific, a sad, and very terrible injury, Moïse Bombito will be out for 4 to 5 months with a non-displaced tibia fracture. And this comes on the same exact leg Moïse Bombito had the stress fracture back this summer. The one that kept him out for the Canadian Shield, the injury that kept him out for the CONCACAF Gold Cup, and also saw him only return to the starting lineup for OGC Nice just a few weeks ago. This is also a Moïse Bombito, a 25-year-old star Canadian centre back, who is set to return and start for Canada this window against Australia or Colombia. And that no longer will be happening, which is very sad and very unfortunate and major news for the Canadian men's national team, who will still be without a starting back four player for another window and will not have their preferred starting center back pair for another window. But there is still a silver lining. There is still a bright side to this Moïse Bombito injury. And that is the fact that it is not a season-ending injury. When Moïse Bombito was first stretchered off for OGC Nice against AS Monaco, this looked much worse than 4 to 5 months. This looked like a season ender for Moïse Bombito. This looked like a 2026 World Cup ending injury for the 25-year-old star Canadian centre back. So the fact this is only a 4 to 5 month injury for Moïse Bombito is amazing to see. The fact that Moïse Bombito will have a club season left to play. The fact Moïse Bombito might potentially be back for the March international window if recovery goes to plan is very exciting to see. But there is a good side to this, there is a bad side to this, and there is an ugly side to this Moïse Bombito injury, and we're going to dive into it. But before you guys jump into the comments, let me know your thoughts on the timeline of the injury, and let me know your thoughts on Kamal Miller replacing Moïse Bombito, and if it should have been Jamie Knight-Labelle. Make sure to smash the like button, hit that sub button, and let's jump straight into the bad and the ugly. As Moïse Bombito and this Canada side will now be out with their star center back, the player that they mold this team around, the player that changes how Canada plays, a game changer, a star player, and that is not understated. This is an incredible player for the Canadian men's national team, one that truly shapes how Jesse Marsch first came in and set up this Canada. This Canadian side is molded around that back line. How this team sets up is based on the high press, is based on the high line, and how those center backs press and cover together. And Moïse Bombito missing another window to learn who that starting center back pairing is a big blow for this Canadian men's national team to start building chemistry with his partner for the Canadian World Cup and Home World Cup in 2026 and to continue preparing for that tournament is a big loss. And the fact that Moïse Bombito won't be able to build that chemistry, won't be able to build next to Derek Cornelius or Luc de Fougerolles, who Moïse Bombito won't be able to learn who his partner is going to be, is a very unfortunate blow. Especially that Alistair Johnson and Alphonso Davies were both tracking in the right direction to possibly be back for the November international window. It's a huge blow. Now not have potentially the starting back four available until the March international window is huge news. Jesse Marsch has to continue using only one starting defender for the next window, for the next possibly two windows. And this is a huge blow for how he wants to set up, to how he needs to prepare for the World Cup, and also for this team in general. But there's a lot of positivity still around this injury, and we still have to keep in good spirits, because this is an injury that could have seen Moïse Bombito out for the 2026 World Cup and end his club season. And the good side around this is Moïse Bombito is set if everything goes according to plan, if his recovery is perfect, if his recovery is on track for a February return. And if you are a positive person, if you are an optimistic person, Moïse Bombito could return to the Canadian roster for the March international window. which would be truly ideal for Jesse Marsch and the Canamanti, and something I'm going to bank on because I really want to see him back for the March international window and to get some chemistry along with Alphonso Davies, Alistair Johnston, and Derek Cornelius or Luke de Fougerolles. And that is a true potential. That is a true possibility because this is being labeled as a similar injury to Tajon Buchanan, the one he had at the Copa America and the one he returned from and recovered from extremely quickly. And if Tajon Buchanan can do that, Moïse Bombito certainly can as well. The OGC needs the medical staff is in positive spirits. Moïse Bombito is in good spirits as well. And this is all being reported from Matthew Shinetti. So this is very exciting that this isn't a season-ending injury. And what's also very positive is the ramifications for Moïse Bombito's two center-back partners, and Derek Cornelius and Luke de Fougerolles, who have proved themselves to be battling for a number 2 spot. Luke de Fougerolles has risen to the occasion. He has played incredibly well for the Canadian men's national team, and Derek Cornelius continues to have a great previous couple of windows. And it is still a battle for the number 2 spot, but the fact Canada has 2 center backs that they can rely on to start and play extremely well together is very exciting, especially in the absence of Moïse Bombito, who was looked upon as a huge savior in the back line and still is. But the fact we have 2 center backs who we can rely upon still to keep clean sheets against big nations who are going to be at the World Cup is major and is very exciting. And this still gives, if we're looking at this from a bright side and a positive outlook, which I am going to, Moïse Bombito has 2 center back partners who can play immensely well together, who can keep clean sheets, and are both going to have now 2 windows to prove themselves as who will be the number 2 next to Moïse Bombito. Will it be LDF? Will it be DC? Who knows? But they're both going to play incredible football in that back line, battling it out together, building chemistry. And if one of them wins the role, great. If they're still playing terrific together, who knows who wins it next to Moïse Bombito. But that is the glaring positive around this. You still have 2 incredible center backs who are going to have both their starting fullbacks returning in November. And the back four will continue to build chemistry. Moïse Bombito will not be out for the full season. Moïse Bombito will not be out for the 2026 World Cup, which some were scared about when he went off in a stretcher. This is the best news possible from this injury. This is truly great news. Yes, any news around an injury is sad. Any longevity injury is sad, especially when it was to the exact same leg. But for Moïse Bombito, for Jesse Marsch, for the Canamanti, as well as Canadian supporters, only being a 4 to 5 month injury is the best circumstance for everyone involved, as well as OGC Nice. This is the best situation, the best circumstance, and the ramifications for this injury, thankfully, aren't as bad as it might have been. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below in the comments, because we are also seeing Kamal Miller replace Moïse Bombito this window, and to me, I would have preferred Jamie Knight-Labelle, but I completely see why Kamal Miller was called up. He's having a very good season for Portland Timbers, as well as this is a North American-based camp. He is coming in, he is playing in the MLS. These games are in Montreal as well as New Jersey, so it makes sense to call up someone who is closer to these games, someone who is in the MLS. And Kamal Miller is the closer trip. He is closer to this team, and it's great to see that there is still a center back battle between Kamal Miller and Jamie Knight-Labelle. The younger center back can continue to play in Europe, can continue to play abroad, and get game time, while Kamal Miller gets his reps within the Canamanti in training and continues to prove himself. So the fact it's a North American-based camp makes sense why Kamal Miller got to replace Moïse Bombito. Let me know your thoughts, guys, down below in the comments. Would you have chosen Kamal Miller to replace Moïse Bombito? What are your thoughts on the timeline of this injury? And let me know down below in the comments if you are positive, if you are optimistic around Moïse Bombito returning for the March international window. Make sure to smash that like button, hit that sub button as we continue to build this absolutely incredible community, guys. I truly appreciate all the support, all the comments. Let's continue to build this unbelievable Canadian soccer community. And I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.